Hey everybody, this is Abby with Creative at Home, and we are going to do one of our weekly art tutorials today. Today it is going to be these cute little owl hangers made from a paper plate. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Follow along. Again, feel free to stop your video if you need to get caught up, or rewind, fast forward, all of that kind of stuff. So, and if you want to catch us live, these are done 4:30 on Thursdays in the Artsy Online Club. You can follow me on Facebook and Instagram at Creative at Home Art. And let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go over supplies. So I just have one paper plate. You'll need one paper plate per owl you're going to make. You can see I have a variation here. We'll make a little bit of a different variation during the demo, so you guys can see a couple different options. So my one paper plate, I have two different colors of brown paint. I'm going to squirt some onto my palette here. So I have a lighter brown. Color I'm using is called Sienna, and this is Saddle Brown. It's a darker brown. You guys can use regular brown. You can lighten it up with some white, darken a brown up with some black. It just depends on what you want to do. So got those in my paint palette. I have a paper towel to keep my space clean, a marker, paper clip, or clothespin, and just to help glue set, I have a couple different glues depending on what I need, brushes, and water. I have some smaller, let's move this under. I have some smaller detail brushes and a bigger, much larger brush for painting the plate. Pair of scissors, some string for my hanger, and then I'm gonna use just some scrap construction paper. I have orange, black, and yellow. If you want to change any of these colors, of course you can use pinks, purples. You could do a fancy owl. You can do a realistic owl. We're gonna do more realistic today. But if you want a pink and purple owl, then do a pink and purple owl. Enjoy it, be creative with it, and that's the fun. So go ahead and get your supplies together, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I'm gonna take my largest paintbrush here that I have, and I am going to start painting my plate. So with this one, I painted both sides of the plate the same lighter brown color. So this time I am going to paint one side of my paper plate the lighter color, and one side of the paper plate the darker color, so that it adds just a little bit of interest. So I am going to paint the back of my plate this lighter brown color. And I'm just gonna start covering it up. And it should go pretty quickly. If you have those sponge brushes, those would work great for this project as well. I'm gonna just kind of do this. And what I love about this project is I didn't have to actually go buy anything. I love projects where you can go and say, okay, here's what I have in my art supplies, and what can I do out of it? You know, we do that a lot at our house with paper lunch bags. We do it with paper towel rolls, toilet paper rolls, all kinds of things like that. Being creative is, I think, even more fun when you don't have to go buy special materials all the time. Just use what you have and use your brain to kind of think stuff up. So that's mostly what I tried to do with these tutorials. on Thursday, the smaller projects with the Artsy Club, is to use things that most families with school-aged kids really already have. So I'm going to get a little bit more paint here so that I can finish the back. And I'll use this lighter color for some detail work on the front. Get this, give myself a little bit more room here. And I like to start with the back because it's more it absorbs the paint a little easier, so it actually dries faster. So we can start with that and then flip it over. If you want to dry yours faster, feel free to get your blow dryer out. That works wonders. If you're not in a hurry, pause the video, let it dry, and go from there. So I'm gonna start rinsing my brush while this dries just a little bit more. Give myself. Okay. Alright, so we're heading into, this is originally done the first week in November, so this will be more of our fall crafts season. Gonna do some fun holiday crafts as we head into November as well. So it's dry enough for me to flip it over, and I am going to start painting the inside with my darker brown, and you'll see how that's going to work here in just a little bit. Just kind of give it a quick coat. Keep it going. Get some more of this color too. I'm underestimating my paint amounts. All right, go ahead and finish this side up. And we'll let it dry while we cut out some of our accessory or details with our construction paper. Get those edges. All right. Any last little bits? Okay, so I'm gonna set my two-toned plate just off to the side, let it dry just a little bit more. I'm gonna fold my paper towel, get another one in here. Okay, just in case there's any wet paint. So now, if you look on here, we're gonna cut out of our construction paper some eyes and a beak and some feet. If you want to add some pointy ears, you can do that here. You can do all kinds of things with this, but I am going to make one just like this. So what I am going to do is just cut out shapes, and we'll put the shapes together to make the face. So if you could see here, I was using a technique where I folded it, the paper, I folded it once and then I folded it again. So I only had to make one cut, and I had two circles cut with exactly the same size. So I didn't have to worry about making it more difficult on myself or having a circle that was too big or small. So in order to do that, I'll show you what I did. So I folded it long ways in half, and then I'm just going to fold it about half as deep as I want the circle, okay, because we're going to cut it in half. So you can see here that I just want it to be wide enough to cut half of the circle there, okay? So I have my fold, and we're going to cut around, but we're not going to cut the fold, so that we can get that taken care of, okay? So then I'm going to fold. So I folded it this way, and you can fold it this way or this way, so that you have a folded side on top of a folded side, okay? I like to fold it with the flap on the outside, and it'll be easier to see when it's not black, but I like to fold it where the fold is on the outside of the paper, so that when I'm looking at it, I can see what so I don't have to go too far in there. So I'm just gonna start cutting. If you want to draw on your paper before you cut, you can. It'll be a little hard with this black marker. I'll show you on the next one. But you could just draw a half circle. If you can see that. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I'm just going to cut that around, and I'll show you what happens, okay? So I'm going to cut the circle so that the paper can be put away. And you can see I have 2 half circles now. And when you open them up, they are just like the circles for the owl's eyes. Okay, so now we can do the same thing with our yellow, and this will be a little easier to demonstrate, but I have to start with the black so that it looks right. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I want my yellow circle to be just a little bit bigger than my black circle, so you can see it from behind the black circle. Okay, so I'm going to fold it down like this so that you could basically fold your black circle there and you have plenty of space. Okay, so we folded that down. We have our folded side here. Fold that there, and then we're just going to fold it in half again so that we have folded side and a folded side right there. Okay, and what makes this easy is I'm just going to sit my black dot, or black circle that I already cut out. I'm going to sit that on the yellow paper just like that, and I'm going to take my scissors and I am going to just cut the same distance all the way around that black circle. And you can see that when you're finished, you'll have 2 yellow circles. So what you can do then is take whatever glue you're using. Elmer's glue would be fine, or school glue, but I'm just going to use a glue stick. And I am going to glue my black circles on the top of my yellow circles. And you have 2 owl's eyes. Owls have big eyes so they can see their prey in the dark. And so we have 2 big ones that I just dropped in my paint. No big deal, that's the back. We'll get those ready for the rest of the thing. So we'll put those over there. Sometimes stuff like that happens when you're getting creative. Just cover it up so you don't get it in your hands. Check our plate here. Looking pretty close to being dry. Just let it go a little bit longer, and we can cut our beak and our feet. So we're going to use that same technique. We're going to fold it, and I'm actually just going to cut a strip here so that we don't. And I am going to cut a square of paper, and I'm going to just fold it in half. So this beak, if you look closely, you can see there's a fold in the center there. So we're just going to basically cut a triangle on this fold. So you want to cut it so that the fold opens up just like that. Okay, so there's your beak. Now this may be a little bit wider than I want. You can just come in and trim it up to make it more narrow. And then if you see here, we'll end up putting the triangle there with the point towards you and both eyes on there. And we'll end up with our owl's face. So we'll set those guys aside up here so we can start working on the feet. And I am going to cut this into equal parts. And instead of folding them this way, I'm going to fold it. Actually, I am going to fold it this way. I'm going to fold it this way. And this one I am going to draw. I'm going to fold both of them at the same time. Okay. And I'm going to stick one in the other, just like a book. Okay. So when we cut them, it's going to do both at the same time. So you can see here, the foot has 1, 2, 3 toes. So we are going to basically draw, if you look at this one, we're going to draw a toe and a half, and the half of the toe is going to be along the fold. Okay. So I am going to, I'm actually going to draw it this way. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to start about so, right here. That's going to be the top of my foot. That's going to go, so that's the leg basically. So I'm going to go down and go out and draw one toe, come up and draw another toe off of the side. So that's my half. This is the folded edge. I'm just going to cut that shape out. If you can't do both layers at the same time, that's fine. You can draw it twice and do it that way, but I'm going to cut mine both out this way. And when you're cutting something like this, it's easier, remember, to move the paper around the curves than to move your hand this way. Okay, so move the paper. I'm moving the paper with my left hand, and my right hand that's cutting isn't actually doing much movement at all except opening and closing the scissors. And then I like to cut a straight line across there because it's hard to manipulate in here. So that makes that a little bit easier. So I'm just going to curve and go up into that point. Yeah. And then I'm going to curve this one and go up into the point, and you should be able to pull it right out. Okay. So we have those scraps out of the way. When you open it up, we have 2 little bird's feet. Okay. All right. So I think we are all set, and we're about as dry as we're going to get here. We're dry enough anyway. So I'm going to set my feet and my eyes and my beak off to the side. And we are going to start working on this. So what I have to decide here with my two-tone, if you did the same color on both sides of your plate, you don't have a decision to make. But I have a decision to make because I painted it two colors. So my decision I have to make is, do I want the belly to be lighter or darker than the head and the wings? Okay, because if I fold it this way, the belly is going to be darker than if I fold it this way, the belly will be lighter. So I'm going to go with that. Okay, so I'm going to fold my paper plate. I'm going to fold one side in to the center. Okay, and I'm going to fold the other side in, just overlap slightly. Okay, so you have that there. All right. And then all we're going to do here is fold the top down so that we have the shape like this. All right. So you can see how my belly is lighter. Here it was all the same color. So I am going to open it back up now that I've folded it, and I'm going to start using my glue. I like to fold it first so that I don't get glue all over my hands or anything like that. So I'm going to fold it and put a dot, not a lot of glue there. And I'm going to put another dot right there. So those will stay shut, hopefully. And then I am going to run a line of glue there and do a triangle of glue there. Okay. So now I'm going to close this down. And what I'm going to use this for is to hold it while I paint some of the details. Okay, so let's get that a little closer so you can see it. If you feel the need to touch up some of this, you can here. If you want it to be darker, I'm gonna blot that a little. Oops, 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 oops. Okay. Just kind of touch up some of these spots here if you want them to be darker. No big deal. If you want it to be kind of textured, that's fine too. Get some of these white spots fixed. All right, here we go. All right, so now, since I have a dark body, I am going to draw my feathers on my wings with the lighter color. If you did it all one tone with the lighter color of the brown, then you should outline with the dark. If you did all of the dark, then outline with the light. So it just kind of depends on what you did. But I am going to get my finest brush, and I'm just going to start doing the feathers while this glue is drying. So to do the feathers, I'm just going to draw U shapes. The first one, I'm just going to draw them however I want. Just kind of follow them up like that. And then for the second row, I'm going to start in the middle of the first one and go to the middle of the second one. Okay, and then just kind of go half off there. And then the middle to the middle. And then the middle to the middle. The middle to the middle. And then kind of off. All right, so we did that on the second row. The third row, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the middle over, middle to the middle, middle. There you go. Okay, so we're just going to keep building that down. And doing it offset, going to the middle like that will just make it look like it's not all in one row. Okay. And as your plate gets smaller, it'll kind of change it up too. Right. Now we're going to go this way. And we're just going to do that for this side and for this side. So just keep going. Keep going. Oops. All right. And just kind of get that down to the edge there. And then I'm going to start on the other side. So try not to get your hand over here. Kind of work so you don't. There we go. Same thing. I'm going to do the offset. Okay. Keep going. And get those feathers going. So my son, who's 9, is reading Harry Potter right now. So my owls make me think of Harry Potter. But you can also, they're good for the fall season. See them a lot. But so mine is going to be Hedwig, even though Hedwig is white. Maybe the next one I make, I'll make a white one. But we're reading those stories and it's great. I love those movies as a young adult, and I'm enjoying having them, watch them with my kids. Now I'm a tough mom. His requirement is that he has to read the book before he can watch the movie. So he's doing a lot of reading because he wants to watch them. All right. Okay, so now I have my feathers, and the last steps are to add my features that are going to make it a bird. So I'm going to dot, 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 not a lot. It's my daughter who's in 1st grade says. And I'm going to put those on the back. So I'm just gluing them to the back of the bottom here so they hang down a little bit. Just like that. Okay. And then depending on what kind of glue you use, this may or may not need a little bit more time clamping. So I'm going to leave it. I might put that back on when I'm finished gluing these guys. So I am actually going to glue the beak on first. So I want the beak to be centered right in between here where the plates come together, that fold there. And then I'm going to Put one eye here. These guys got big eyes, even for an owl. And when I dropped in the paint, this guy here, right there. So this is my owl. And now the final step is to take my piece of yarn. You could use spare ribbon, you could use twine, you can use string, curling ribbon, whatever you want. But the last thing to do here is just to put a little dot of glue on there. And this, you don't want to pick up until it's dry, okay? So I'm actually going to use this brush. So I'll get it all over my fingers. So just push it into the glue. Make sure it's good and stuck. And I like to secure it with just a little piece of tape while it dries, at least. Clear tape in case you can't get it off. But here you go. So now when that's dry, you can hang it in your room, you can hang it on a door, you can hang it wherever you like. I'm going to clamp him back on so the glue dries a little bit better. But that is our owl, paper plate owl tutorial. And I hope you enjoyed it today. That's all we have for this week. Please let's see your artwork. Share it on hashtag creativeathomeart on Instagram. And I would love to see it. You can also post it on my Facebook page, Creative at Home on Facebook. I would love to see your artwork that you've submitted. So thanks again for working with me, and I hope to see you live in the Artsy Club. If you have any questions, check out my Facebook page, Creative at Home. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.